So yesterday, the first promo of FC25 dropped. Of Road to the Knockout stage, loads of content came out, the market went up, and there is still lots to come. So in today's video, we're going to be covering all of those topics, along with loads and loads of investments you guys can make right now or over the next few days. But before we do start the video, as always, if you guys are interested, we do have a free daily updated trading guide with loads of investments updated every day, with data updated for trading every single day. So do make sure to check this out. It will be available until the 1st of October, and then it will become my Twitch sub pack. So do make the most of that whilst it is available. So we've got lots and lots and lots of stuff to go through. So let's go through the SBCs as we always do. Now, sadly, the player SBC who we got was leaked a while ago, and that was Jota. And I'll be honest with you, it's giving very FC24 sort of vibes, as the kids say. So basically got hyped up for a while. Everyone's like, oh, well, he's from Liverpool, you know, he's going to be 5-star weak foot or whatever, 4-star skills, you know, he's going to be demanded, but it's the exact same as last year. This SBC is coming out at, I believe it was 200k, exactly 197k. He's got no playstyle plus. I mean, roles wise, he's got 3 role pluses, but he's got no role pluses. Obviously, his base card is okay, but it's not too insane. You know, we have gold cards, arguably way more desirable than that, unless you want a card with super high, I guess, dribbling and weak foot. Then it maybe answers your questions there. But I don't think personally he'll be a very popular card. Obviously, he's got left wing, right wing, and striker utility, which I guess is quite good for having him in your team. But then again, Diaz has left wing and right wing utility. Chiesa has left wing, right wing, and striker utility. And both cards are arguably more desirable at a cheaper price. On top of that, the upgrades, if you guys are not aware on how they work, is that you've got to win 3 matches to get your first upgrade. You've got to score 4 goals, or the team has to score 4 goals in I guess, has to score 1 goal in 4 different games to receive another +1 and a role plus. I think he'll finish top 2 in the league to get the last one, which again is next to impossible, especially as I don't think that Liverpool would be too favoured to finish as the top 3. On top of that, the first upgrade won't come any earlier than, I believe, the first week of November, and the second upgrade won't come any earlier than the last week of November. So the upgrades are so spread out in comparison to last year, where you could have got your first upgrade at the end of October and your second upgrade at the beginning of November. So yeah, everything's kind of delayed 2 weeks, making arguably the Road to Knockout stage cards across the board a bit less desirable. But he didn't really do much. He didn't really rise the Liverpool investments. The whole market did rise, and again we'll cover that later. But he didn't really rise the market. You know, before Jota came out, Alisson was 50k, and now Alisson is 50k. We move on to another card, Diaz, again out of packs. Before Alisson came out, Diaz was going for about 70k. Diaz is currently 70k, you know, despite being out of packs, so nothing interesting there. Chiesa, before Diaz was out, Chiesa was going for, if I'm going to grab the hourly graph, 131, and now he's 140. But arguably, Chiesa plays every position than Jota. So, I mean, you know, if Jota was really demanded, if anything, he could have dropped Chiesa, but he didn't. Chiesa is literally up in price. So yeah, we can see that, you know, he didn't really rise the link investments. He also didn't go and drop Premier League strikers, and he also didn't really go and drop fodder. We can see before he was out, prop was going for about 10k. Post him being out, prop is still at 10k. So yeah, not really too many movements with the likes of Jota. Obviously, again, you know, if you've got nothing else to maybe go and build, you can build towards it. But I mean, we've got ourselves a Haaland. I think the Alaba, has expired now. But yeah, I don't understand really why you want to do that. Well, along with that, we did also go and get ourselves a few upgrade SBCs. Got ourselves a Team of the Week upgrade. This is very interesting. It got added to the pack code. People were a little bit panicking. They were like, oh no, is this going to drop our Team of the Week 1s and 2s? And it's really annoying because I wanted it to drop Team of the Week 1s and 2s, because if stuff like this, untradeable SBCs, drop Team of the Week 1s and Team of the Week 2s, it doesn't increase the supply. Because the odds on that someone has, let's say, Informed Diaz in their team, and the odds that they pack Informed Diaz and not a pleb from this is extremely low. And because it's extremely low that they actually go and pack, you know, someone they have in their team, or even someone who can replace someone in their team, it doesn't really increase the supply Team of the Weeks. But what it can do is it can create a bit of panic selling. Well, I don't know if it's because people couldn't get on the servers yesterday at 6 PM, but it didn't really create much panic selling. I checked all the Team Week investments I wanted, and I generally wasn't seeing anything dropping more than like 2-3k on a 100k card, which, you know, isn't much. So yeah, I mean, I think it's quite a nice pack. I think it's, I imagine we'll get one of these almost every single week without failure. It's just when we get it, no idea. Again, it didn't really create too much market movement. So that is the second SBC we got. And then we got one last SBC, which was a challenge SBC. And you can see it right here, very, very easy. We've had a fair few recently that have had some decent coins on it, but this is first owned player 1, players from the same league minimum 2, 12 chemistry, 65 rating. It's basically asking for a full bronze team with maybe the odd silver in there. It's a very, very easy team to go and build. And that goes and gives you a 7.5k pack tradable. Interesting enough, that's the first tradable pack we've seen in generic SBCs other than marquee matchups. So, yeah, very interesting that they've decided to do that. It did go and drop a nice investment that I wanted to go and make, I guess today, or you can make right now, and that is buying the Turkish League Manager Leagues. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video, but yeah, premium gold pack, supplies shadows, supplies hunters, and again, supplies manager leagues, which is also what we want. But where are we going to move on to now? We'll probably look a little bit at the current team of the week. I think that is the next place. So as we were saying a second ago, we wanted team of the week 1, we wanted team of the week 2, that team of the week 1 and 2 pack to go and drop team of the weeks because we did like these as investments. Now, a few of these guys did go and drop 2 prices I quite liked earlier in the day. For example, Rafinha, I think was about 240k in the morning. I said that was a good buy in the morning. There you go. It was about 240 in the morning. Recommended that. Obviously, he's up to 320 right now. The second investment I quite liked was Breme. Breme got down to about 105. If we can show you there, 105, got down there around about 105. Obviously, he's now rebounded up to 120, so some nice rebounds there already. Other than that, I think Son might have been a good buy on PC or something like that. But yeah, apart from that, there weren't any other any investments I guess I recommended. I guess Vinicius Jr. under 2.6 million. For those people who always ask me, should I go and buy Vinicius Jr.? I said just buy him under 2.6. I guess he's 2.7 now. So these team of the weeks going off of last year's trend are now favourite to just rise every single day going into Tuesday. Peak on Tuesday and then go down out of packs. A little bit like what we saw happen with Team of the Week 1. We haven't seen that many Team of the Week 1s be more expensive on the Thursday than they were on the before going out packs on the Tuesday. On the top of the Team of the Week 1s, these are also favourite now just to rise going into Friday. Now, of course, you've kind of missed the low on them, but if you do want them for your team, I do recommend buying them sooner rather than later, as they are only favourite now to rise. Now we're going to talk about the objectives. We did go and get ourselves objective, what's it called, Otamendi. Not really coming at a crazy card. They could have buffed this card a lot more. In the end of the day, Benfica probably aren't too favourite to win a bunch of games. Probably favourite to score a fair few goals, but not favourite to win a bunch of games. He's got role pluses. He's not really got any playstyle pluses. They did obviously buff the card quite a lot to have 78 pace, but yeah, I feel like they could have done a bit more personally. Didn't really rise anything. It was very, very generic. Obviously, if you guys don't know, there's few season points in there. So yeah, these should be very easy though. These are literally, you just need to get a score 10 goals, with an Argentinian player, which you should be able to just do in one squad battle game if you're interested. And then the other 3 are just Argentina based and just give you some small individual packs. But yeah, not an amazing card. Nothing too much on the likes of that. Now we're going to move on to the Evo. We were saying that Di Maria could have been a good investment if they wanted some Liga NOS objectives and some Argentina objectives, but that wasn't the case, so there was no money right there. The next thing we're going to go and talk about is the Evos. There we go. We did go and get ourselves another Evo, but interesting enough, yesterday's Evo by itself wasn't really too OP. It was just one of these kind of generic, we'll upgrade a few stats here, we'll upgrade a few stats there. By itself, it didn't really create anything too insane. There we go. Yeah, so it increased players a little bit, like Doku. What did it do for Doku? It went and gave him a little bit, I imagine some in-game stats. It gave him 5 shooting and it gave him 5 dribbling. Then when it gave him 5 physical and 5 defending. So I mean, you couldn't put insane cards in, so it couldn't make insane stat cards. But what it could do is it was used a lot for combinations. So for example, just Doku in that wasn't too amazing. But then what you could do is you could go and put him in this, then throw him in another one. And the second one gave him another +3 shooting. It gave him another +3 dribbling. It also might have given him like a weak foot, something like that. So what this Evo is it's more used as a stepping stone or a combo Evo than something that's used in itself. I'm also just going to talk a little bit about the Evo because it's got one of these more awkward requirements that I guess I'll walk through a little bit. So again, it gave a very generic overall upgrade. You know, a little bit of pace here, a little bit of shooting here, a little bit of passing, a little bit of dribbling, a little bit of defending. But you can see right here, and maybe I'll zoom in a little bit. There we go. You can see that it's got these dark greens, and it has this in game. You can see in game. There we go. You can see with the stats there, it's got these little arrows with a. I guess there's an arrow and a line above it. Now, what these are is these are the limits that the card can get upgraded to. So the card can still get put in if their stats are surpassing that. But for example, right here it'll give him. Right, what should we use as an example? We use the defending as an example. So right here we'll give him +3 defending, but it will only upgrade the defending to a maximum of 77 overall. So you can see right there, that bar bar right there is only getting upgraded to a 77. We can also see that he gets +2 passing to a maximum of 78 overall. But let's say, for example, he had above 77 defending, well then that card wouldn't receive the defending boost, but it would receive the boost in other places. So it basically just means you can put players into Evos. They might not upgrade in certain places because they might be too high rated, but they might go and receive other upgrades nonetheless. Also, sometimes what will happen is they'll give them boost, but it'll be in-game boost stat. It'll be in-game stat boost rather than it'll be card stat boosts. So yeah, it was quite interesting. I mean, it didn't really seem to rise too much. It rose Doku, which was quite interesting because of course Doku was out of packs, and traditionally all gold cards who get road to the knockout stages drop out of packs. Interesting enough, this year they didn't actually drop out of packs. Despite the gold cards dropping out of packs when they got Team of the Weeks, despite the gold cards dropping out of packs when they got road to knockout stages last year, they actually didn't drop out of packs, which went against two trends, which was quite rare to occur. But what I would say it is potentially because the whole market rose after 6 PM this year, whereas it dropped after 6 PM last year because of the promo packs. But we'll talk about that a little bit more. But yeah, here's a few more Evo players that again are being used, but only in combination. I mean, Endrick right here has been taken from a nice little 77 card all the way up there to an 82 card. By the end of it, he's got himself a nice little +7 shooting. He's got himself a nice +8 passing. He's got himself a nice +5 dribbling. And I imagine he probably gets himself power shot as well. So in combination with other Evos, it's very, very nice. We're going to talk a little bit about investing in Evos. Now, there's a consistent trend in FIFA, and this consistent trend in FIFA is players who are used for Evos are normally very cheap in the morning, and they'll rise going into the afternoon. Now, the reason this occurs is because, basically, in the evening, the cards are heavily supplied. But through the day, no one's really opening packs supplying these cards. But what people are doing is they're jumping on FIFA, they're buying the players, and they're doing the Evos. Hopefully, this will be a nice example right here. A semi-decent example. So you can see right here, on the Thursday, we can see he was very, very cheap. Because again, not many people buying, lots of packs being open. And we can see that he's rebounded right there. He's gone from 4.6 all the way up there to 7k. We can see the same thing here. We can see in the evening he was 7k. He then got supplied, went down to 5.2k. And he's already rebounded from 5.2k to 6.7k. But his favourite to keep on rebounding going into around about 5 PM. So there are a bunch of investments you guys can go and make right now that basically you can buy now and sell before 6 PM. And it should be the exact same thing for tomorrow with squad battles. You can buy early morning with squad battles, sell in the evening. So we've got players such as Diego Dalot. We've got ourselves Salma. Now the players I've picked are players that are semi-expensive. Now the reason you want to go for semi-expensive players is because we know they don't have much supply. Salma wouldn't be 9k if she was spammed on the market. But because she isn't spammed on the market, we know that she's rare. And if something is rare, if 100 people go and buy it use it for an Evo, it's going to rise a lot more than someone who's spammed, they've got thousands and thousands at discard. So you might have players like Gravenberch, you might have players such as, who's another one who's really cheap, Jean Felix. But these cards, because they're so common, they just don't rise when they're being used. So someone like Salma at 9k is a nice buy. Delot's a nice buy. Minot's a nice buy as well. See if I've got any, I think that's about it. Again, I do have in the trading guide, which again is just here, head to the investment sheet, I do have a bunch of these players here. Where are they? There they are. Move this over. We've got Endrick, Dalot, Salma, Minot, and Correa. These are all the guys I recommend buying because they should rise between now, going into around about 6 PM today. So that is the Evo covered. Now we're just going to talk slightly about the road to the knockout stage team. We're going to talk about investing in them. We'll just talk about the cards briefly. Yep, very nice team. Some very big surprise upgrades, obviously in the likes of Alvarez, almost getting a card as good as Bellingham, despite being an 84 rated. Cherky got himself a very nice upgrade. I think that's about a 77 to an 87. which is, yeah, very nice and big. This guy, I think he went from a non-rare to an 86. Diani ended up with a very nice card as always. From Pong, very nice card. Pina would have taken a bit more pace. Another surprise card, Van der Beek, basically having 80 plus all stats apart from 77 physical. Quite a comparable card to that Eric Garcia we had earlier in the week with an SBC. There's also some nice cards there like Keane. Koch hasn't got too bad of a card. I'm not quite sure why Lang's as expensive as he is. And then Sesko, very, very popular card. What happened with these cards yesterday? Well, again, just with the rest of the market, they were anticipated to potentially drop hour after hour and actually be really cheap in the morning. Now, I was tempted to go and look this morning to go and invest in these cards. But these cards actually weren't that cheap this morning, and as a result, I've opted out of investing in them. I've gone with some different investments, which I'll show you later. Yeah, they actually were the cheapest about 10-20 minutes after 6 PM. We then, again, last year we had 50k packs, I think we probably had 35k packs and multiple other promo packs in the evening, dropping the cards hour after hour. But because we didn't get them this year, they were actually the cheapest in the first like 10-20 minutes. This is not guaranteed to happen every Friday for every promo, because it's subjective on what promo packs we get. But yeah, we saw some rises such as, I believe Sesko went from about 100 or around about 80 up to around about 130 initially last night. Van der Beek went from like 35 to 48. Romero went from about 190 up to 230. And yeah, obviously Watkins was also extinct at 100 and he's up to 160. So we saw some really nice initial rebounds, but when are we going to go and buy these guys' cards? Now last year, the cheapest these guys' cards were on Friday, so literally all the way through to next Friday. One of the reasons for that is because we have Road to the Knockout Stage Team 2. Because we have Road to the Knockout Stage Team 2, people kind of get bored of Road to the Knockout Stage Team 1, they sell them to go and buy Road to the Knockout Stage Team 2. So yeah, you basically are going to go and buy them, I'd say anywhere from maybe Thursday Division Rival Awards if we get a nice drop, all the way through to Friday just before 6 PM or Friday after 6 PM, because again, that was the cheapest last year. And because this year these cards are going to take another week or two to upgrade, I'd say Friday would be even better, because even though, yes, we're going to get some games midweek, I don't think there's any hype around them, because you need 3 wins or you need 4 games where you get 1+ goal, which again are going to take about a month to upgrade to get. So yeah, I don't recommend buying these cards until Friday. Regarding who's going to be the best buy, there's a few cards I quite like. I quite like DeMarco because of course we know there's hype around him for Thuram. Thuram I believe still out for another 20 days, so that should be quite good right there, because obviously Thuram doesn't have, he's got Barella and he's got, what's it called, Bastoni, but obviously DeMarco being a promo card is quite nice. Sesko had a really good rebound yesterday, obviously shows there's a bit of demand and there's a low supply to demand ratio, which is nice. Van der Beek, like I said earlier, has really nice overall stats. And then finally the last two I'd say is Chekri and Watkins. That's just an educated guess. There is actually a statistic way on how we can find who the best investment is. And that's by heading over to Footbin, hovering over players, going down to player game performance, and this is what we do all last year. We're then going to head down to versions. We're going to click on versions. We're going to go squads, and we're going to scroll to RTTK. This gives me all the stats I need to know about all the Road to Knockout stage players. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on games, and what it's now showing me is the players who are being used the most out of anyone in the Road to the Knockout stage. And obviously, by theory, whoever is used the most should rise the most out of packs, because we know there's lots of demand. So far, Van der Beek is the most used RTTK player, which means when he goes out of packs, he should do really well. Same with Watkins, same with Sesko. We've got Keane there, we've got DeMarco, we've got Cherokee. So yeah, we can see the most used players. Now obviously, some of the least used players is going to be, believe it or not, 2.6 million coin Bellingham. But if we've got like some of the cheap cards down here like Porsche, we just know there's no demand for Porsche here, so he's probably not very favourite to do well out of packs. Also, in the on the contrary, if we have expensive players up here, we know they're super well demanded and they should do really well. For example, even though Donny van der Beek is 42k with 1,000 games played, because Cherokee is 4 times his, or not even that, like 6-7 times his price, we know he's already going to be a much rarer card. So him already being a much rarer card, but still having 323 games played with him is still very impressive, and shows that, you know, even though he has way more games played with him, he's probably got a better demand to supply ratio than the likes of Van der Beek. Likewise, Watkins probably also has a better demand to supply ratio than Van der Beek. So just some stuff to look into, and again, we're covering it a little bit later in the week, what we recommend as a buy. On the topic of Road to Knockout stages, just going to talk a little bit about the gold cards going out of packs. Koch has already done well. What do we recommend Koch at? We recommended buying Koch, I don't know if it's too, there we go. We recommended buying Koch at 600 coins. He's already gone up there to 1.1k. He's done well because he was being used for the marquee matchups, and he's out of packs. We've got Donny van der Beek again, who's already up from 600 to 750. And then we've got Cherokee, who is already up from 800 to 1.1. And then we also had Romero, who went from 1.2 already up to 1.7. Now, unless these cards double in price, I recommend holding till the 3rd of October. 3rd of October is the latest that these guys are out of packs for, because they go back in packs on the 4th of October. There might be a few of them you can still buy. You're basically looking at buying the non-rares from Road to the Knockout stage for about 600-700 coins, or you can look at buying the rares for about 700-800 coins. And the idea is they'll just get rarer and rarer through the week as they use in SBCs, but obviously their gold cards are not resupplied in packs. We're now going to talk a little bit about the greater market. There we go. We're going to talk about the grey market. Now, again, last year what happened is the market was the cheap for cards over 100k. The market was cheapest on the Friday, and then it rebounded on the Saturday. We've actually had a slight change this year, and again, that is due to the packs. The packs this year that we got after 6 PM were just rubbish. As a result, the market across the whole board didn't really drop on the Friday, and if anything, it rose. And again, that's all down to the packs that we got. There was no real way of knowing what packs we were going to get. They did add promo packs into the pack code. Obviously, we know 50k packs are in the pack code, so they could have released the 50k packs, but they didn't, meaning we have started seeing the market rebound. So traditionally, the market would be, he'd probably be about 97 on the Thursday, then drop down to about 93 on the Friday, but he didn't go and drop down to the 93 on the Friday. He actually went up to 103. And again, there was no real way of foreshadowing this because it's all to do with what packs they released, which, well, of course, it was underwhelming. And Griezmann's already gone from 103 up to 109 as well. Frankie de Jong, again, would have been favoured to drop from about 74 down to 60. But again, the packs were underwhelming, which means he's gone from 74 up there to 80, up there to 84. We then got Phil Foden, 114. He went up to 117. He's still 117. We then have Van Dijk, 318. Did average 319, but since is up to 344. We then got Chiesa, 117, went up to 127, now to 137. Team of the Weeks did actually follow the same trend as last year, where they went down on the Friday, but they should be up since then. So he went from up 242 to 237, he's up to 250. Diaz went from 257 down there to 232, he's back up to 265. And Breme, who went from 118 down to 109, he is up to 120. Even expensive Son, 800k, went down there to 800k, he's up to 860. And all these gold cards and informed cards are now expected to rebound all the way through to Tuesday, going off of last year's trends. We also have Camavinga, even cheap cards. Again, Camavinga last year would have gone from about 17k down to about 12k on the Saturday. But because the packs were underwhelming, meaning there was no panic selling and people, if anything, were just buying back their teams, he rebounded. So yeah, so the market should now rebound through to Tuesday. Why should it rebound to Tuesday? Because that is what happened across the board last year. We can show you cheap cards like Llorente, rebounded from the Saturday, kind of peaked up there on the Monday, Tuesday. We can show you mid-tier cards like Saliba, where the cheaps on the Saturday. This is why I'm saying that I didn't recommend to go and buy yesterday, because we anticipated the market dropping to the Saturday because of good packs. But because we didn't have good packs, the market again didn't go down from that price, it went up from that price. But again, last year obviously it went down basically 15% from that price, which is why we wouldn't have gambled on the Thursday. But obviously in hindsight, we now know that Thursday was the cheapest. So Saliba, cheapest on the Saturday, peaked there on the Tuesday. Now it's a heavy misconception. I get there's loads in my stream saying, when should I buy my weekend league team, or should I buy players to rise going into weekend league? And the players don't actually rise going into weekend league. The market, again, peaks here on the Tuesday and actually goes down. And there's also a misconception saying, but Dan, the market went up on the Thursday. Well, actually, if you look on the day-to-day average, it's actually very rare to find someone who went up on the Tuesday. The only reason they went up on the Tuesday is because how much they up on the Thursday is because of how much they went on the Wednesday. So, for example, if we go and look what Van Dijk was on the Wednesday, he was 339k. Well, on the evening of the Wednesday, he went from 339k down here to 310k. And then on the Thursday after Division Rival Awards, he went from 310k up there to 337k. So you see how he was no more expensive on the Thursday than he was on the Wednesday. The only reason he rebounded that much is because how much he was panic sold. And you can see again, he did actually end up dropping there. So on the whole, Division Rival Awards, despite being better, didn't actually rise the market. All they did was rebound from the crash on Wednesday. And I'll be honest with you, I do not think we're going to see that this week. I don't think we're going to see people heavily panic selling their players on the Wednesday to rebound on the Thursday. There are a few exceptions actually to players who rose after division rivals, and those are players that only had recent price range updates. The reason these reacted differently on division rivals is because really the demanded market price wasn't determined. Like, people didn't really know where they stood with buying Camavinga and Chiesa and Nico Williams. Because people didn't really know where they stood with these cards, they weren't really, you know, their true market value hasn't really been worked out, which means, you know, they were getting basically a lot more volatile. You know, they're more volatile to rise, more volatile to crash, but on the whole, they actually rose a lot more. So yeah, I basically think the market now peaks on Tuesday. There is a chance that squad battles might go and drop the market. Squad battles didn't drop the market for the first week last year, didn't drop the market for the first week, for the second week last year, but squad battles is actually what triggered the markets. The market stopped rising at the beginning of this FIFA. The market was rising all the way through to Sunday. Squad battles came out and it stopped rising. So there is a chance that squad battles, especially because the market didn't drop on the Friday to Saturday, might go and drop the market. So if you see rise of about 30-40% on your players, you know, stuff like crazy like that, you can go and sell before squad battles just to play it very safe. If not, you're just going to hold till Tuesday. So again, like I was, I guess, going back to, there is a bit of a misconception that the weekend league rises the market, but let me show you what happened with Saliba. On the Tuesday, he was 60. After weekend league, he was 45k. Across the board, players were dropping 20% over weekend league. And the reason this occurs is because these gold cards are packed loads. They're not as demanded as much because we've now got promo cards. People are moving up. It's a bit of a weird one because in theory, people should be moving up to buy more expensive cards, but even the more expensive cards crashed. The only cards that didn't crash that much were icons. Icons only went down about 5%. So in theory, if you want safe cards in your team, you just go and use icons, because those cards only dropped about 5%, whereas gold cards across the board dropped about 20%. Here's something like Rafael Leão. Again, here's him being the cheapest on Friday, which is why, again, we anticipated them to drop till Friday. Rebound a little bit there, but he rebounded from 140 up there to 161, but peaked there on the Tuesday, 161, went down there to 115. So once again, you can see these cards absolutely crash with weekend league, but then he rebounds Saturday through to Tuesday. So basically 2 weeks in a row now, we are going to see the market be the cheapest today and rise through to Tuesday. As long as Division Rival Awards isn't going to have a completely different trend this week than it had last week, and as long as Squad Battles doesn't go and drop the market this week like it did last week. So there's kind of two variables for it to fall into that, but they're both favourable. We can also show you super expensive cards, because in theory these cards should be rising in Division Rivals or Foot Champs, because people should be upgrading to Vinicius Jr. way more than Vinicius Jr. should be getting packed. But that wasn't the case. Vinicius Jr., again, same as yesterday, was 1 million coins. Then he rebounded to 1.2 million, peaking here actually on the Thursday, but again, selling on the Wednesday would have been safe. And he dropped all the way down there to 950k. He dropped during Weekend League. You know, these cards, again, misconception that they rise during Weekend League, they don't, they drop. Another thing I would say with Vinicius Jr. as well is if you did want to go and use, well, I guess Weekend League, if you do want to go and use expensive cards, your buy time is going to be Sunday evening and playing your games Sunday evening, and I think you have till Monday 8 PM. This is traditionally the cheapest time because of the content we get on Sunday, and the vast majority of people play their Weekend League over the weekend. Now, obviously, being able to play till Monday 8 PM is different this year, so there is a chance that the trends may vary, but I do still think the vast majority are going to play their games by the Weekend League, and I do think the market will start rebounding on Monday and Tuesday. By the way, sorry, this is for next week. Obviously, this current week we're in, there is no Weekend League. The market isn't going to crash this week. This is referring to next week. I was, just basically referring to people thinking that the market rises going into Weekend League. It peaks this Tuesday, then it'll drop all the way through to next Sunday, then a rebound Sunday to Tuesday again. Great market to be trading in. And I think that's covered what's going on with the market. They're going to cover leaks, and there's a pretty big leak, and it is our Lord and Saviour Alan Saint-Maximin. Saint-Maximin should create some crazy movements to the market. So let's go through them. The first thing is he should replace a lot of left wings. Saint-Maximin should be super well demanded. I mean, French left winger. People already got French teams because of Thuram. He's got 5-star skills. He is a legendary FIFA card. He has had so many legendary FIFA cards that it's going to be very hard to believe that people are not going to want a fast 5-star skilling French left winger. I think EA could go and price him at 150k, and he's heavily demanded. And this is actually really interesting because this time last year we also had Kudos. Kudos was super well demanded. He crashed a lot of the right wingers. He crashed a lot of the Prem right wingers. And again, I think Saint-Maximin would do that. The left wingers that I think would say the biggest hit with Saint-Maximin are, if we can go through them, Doku, even though he's out of packs, I think he drops. Rafinha, one of the most popular left wingers, even though he's out of packs, still think he drops. Diaz, even though he's out of packs, still think he drops. Rashford should get absolutely destroyed by him, because again, Rashford is the most used left winger. Or one of the most used. Nico Williams, he's been bought a lot very recently. Vast majority of positions are on the left wing. Now, although Saint-Maximin might not have as demanded of a card, I still think he's used a lot. And although, yes, he can play right mid, I think if players' predominant positions are left mid and left wing, I think they go down. Even if they've gone outside of being a left mid and left wing, I still think they go down. And I think Neymar also goes down because I think they're very comparable cards. High pace, high dribbling, quite off leagues for both of them. Yeah, so I can see Neymar dropping as well. The investments or the players, stuff that I think is going to go up for Saint-Maximin, the first one is a lot of people are going to say, oh, Osherman. I don't think people go down the Turkish league route. I think if you've got the chance to go for France or the Turkish league, you bet people are going to be going down France. But there is one investment I do like, and that is not actually just Fenerbahce players. That's Fenerbahce players with Shadow and Hunter. Now, one of the reasons I quite like Fenerbahce players with Shadow and Hunter is if I go and head over to the market right now, and I go and show you some of the Thuram links. Now, Thuram again was quite a cheap SBC. So, as a result, some of his really cheap players from his club did really well. But where they did extremely well was with a Shadow and Hunter. So if I go and show you right now, I should be able to show you Dumfries. Now, Dumfries is about 1.2k, right? But if I go and show you what Dumfries is with a Shadow, Dumfries with a Shadow absolutely boomed in price when he came out. And the reason for that is a lot of people just went and bought him for that strong link to, what's it called? To Thuram. Well, I think the exact same thing can happen here. I think the Fenerbahce links can do well, but only if they've got a Shadow and Hunter. So I recommend looking at Oosterwolde with a Shadow and Hunter. With a Shadow. I recommend looking at Kostic with a Shadow. Kaldogi obviously doesn't have a card because this is pre him transferring. Fred with a Shadow or a Hunter I think is a good buy. Or Osayi with a Shadow is good, and once again, Oosterwolde is good with a Shadow. I don't recommend the Pleds with a Hunter. I think there's a much higher chance someone just uses a fast fallback with a Shadow than they are going to go and use maybe El Nassiri with a Hunter. So that's the first direction you can go. The second direction, like I said, I think people are going to be going for French teams. You've got expensive French players. Your expensive meta French players are Griezmann and Mendy. You do have Condé as well, but a bit more of an outside. But the cards that I think would do better than the expensive French players are your cheap French players, the super demanded ones. We've got Camavinga, we've got Diaby, we've got Nkunku should do well. Basically, you don't want to be buying players with really left mid or left wing position utility, but you want to be buying the most used ones. And again, all of these are in the guide. We go up here and we'll bring this over here a little bit. We can see we've got Konate, Nkunku, Diaby, Camavinga, Tchouaméni. All the cheap ones, then you've got the expensive ones, and obviously there's a few other investments. Other investments I do quite like as well is SBC fodder. SBC fodder rose as of the Saturday last year, should be the same this year. It rose as of the Saturday for Kudos last year, and again it should rise as of the Saturday this year. I like 85s, 86s, 87s, 88s, and then 86 informs. You in theory could go discard informs, but I would favour the gold fodder over going for the discard informs. On top of that, you can also, because again he is quite awkward to go and get into teams, and I did talk about it briefly earlier. If we head to consumables and we go to manager leagues, you can also go and buy the Superliga Manager League consumable, because again I do think he's going to be very awkward to get into chemistry. And although yes, I did say I don't think people go down the Superliga over going down the going for the French route, I do think that the Super League links are good at 500 coins. These did actually go up to 1.2, 1.3k in the pre-hype yesterday, so I do think you could even buy them and then sell them in the pre-hype. I think I got about 20 odd. I didn't actually get around to selling yesterday, so that's one angle. Another angle with managers is obviously going for a very, very mainstream investment, and that is just going for French managers. What you can do there, you're going to go staff, you're going to go managers and French. Personally, I have these down as a buy at 3k. Can you get them at 3k? Yeah, you can get them at 3k. So these are also another investment you can go for the likes of Saint Max. So fodder, French links, and then obviously French managers. And that has got us done for Saint Maxim. Again, we don't recommend Osherman, and the French players should also do well because of Thuram. That has got us there. I think we've got one last thing to go and talk about. Just going to talk about pre-team of the week briefly. Actually, we've got two things. We've got to talk quickly about pre-team of the week. These are players who are favourite to hit team of the week and therefore do well going into Wednesday, going out of packs, or again, maybe even do well out of packs. Ayoze Perez got himself 2-goal contribution, so picking him up for about 600 coins is decent. Grassi got himself 3-goal contribution, again, literally going for the same price of SBC fodder can be a good pickup. Horan, last year she got like 4-goal contribution and didn't get a team of the week. She got herself 2 goals and an assist. going for SBC fodder, so that's a nice one right there. And then, not regarding Team of the Weeks, but actually regarding UCL marquee matchups. Should see UCL marquee matchups coming on the Tuesday or Wednesday. Again, this is covered in the guide. They normally pick one game from either day. I think Monday's game is very obviously going to be Arsenal versus PSG. Outside is Leverkusen Milan, but I would say because they lost the license to Milan, I'd want to say that's less favourable. But I'd say you've got PSG Arsenal or Leverkusen Milan is probably the outside. I don't see any other games getting in there. Wednesdays is very hard to call who's going to get it. It could be Leipzig Juventus, it could be Lille Real Madrid, it could be Aston Villa versus Bayern Munich. I'll be a lot less certain on which club will be in the Thursday, but again, you can go by the goals for discard. They normally do really, really well. Just like with marquee matchup, only the last team in the marquee matchup does well. Both teams, so UCL marquee matchup is normally just two teams, one from the Tuesday games, one from the Wednesday games. Normally both teams can do, or both sets of teams can do very, very well. On top of that, there is a chance that Tuesday after 6 PM the market might go down with UCL market matchups due to pack supply. So yeah, another reason to go and sell on the Tuesday before 6 PM. And I think that goes, and we also might go and get it on the Wednesday. Sometimes we get a generic SBC on the Tuesday and then on the Wednesday. Regarding what we've been doing lots and lots of icon flipping, along with some shadow flipping. There you go, there's a few icons got earlier. Picked ourselves up a Prince, this is a nice deal earlier. 149, flipping over for 175. If you're interested in shadow trading or icon trading, again, it's how I make the vast majority of my coins. I do stream 10 hours a day on Twitch, walking you guys through these methods. And yeah, so on. But thank you very much for watching today's video. And we'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video.